Hello, I'm Elsie Normington and welcome to Elsie's Extracts. Today we're going to look at our second Bible hero, and today it's one of my favourite Bible heroes, and it's Nehemiah. Now, I don't know if you've ever read the book of Nehemiah, but it's an absolutely fascinating story. So Nehemiah, he was a cupbearer to the king down in Persia, King Artaxerxes, and it was a very important position. He was a high-ranking officer. It was a very lucrative position and really quite influential because he spoke directly to the king. And one of the rules around his job was that he always had to be happy in the king's presence. And one day when he was serving the king, he was sad and downcast. And the king asked him, "Nehemiah, what's wrong with you today? Are you ill? Why are you so downcast?" And as a result, Nehemiah replied to the king. And he told him that his city of his ancestors was lying in ruins, the walls were broken down, and the gates had been burned with fire. And so he was very sad about this news. So the king said to him, "Well, what do you want?" So the first thing that I want to look at Nehemiah is the fact that he was bold. He was bold. He was a man of prayer, but when it came to the point speaking to the king, he had to be bold. And so he asked the king if he could have leave of absence from his duties. He also wanted letters for safe passage to go up to Jerusalem, and he also wanted to be able to cut down trees from the king's forests in order to build the new gates. And so, would you believe that? The king actually gave him everything that he asked for, and not only that, he sent cavalry with him as well. So was that not just amazing that he was so bold? So that's the first point. The second point I want to make about Nehemiah is the fact that he believed God. He believed that God was with him, that God had given him the vision, and he believed that God was with him. Now, you know, when we're doing God's work and living for God, it's not always plain sailing. Often there will be enemies along the pathway, and Nehemiah had his fair share of that. There were two enemies called Sanballat and Tobiah, and they really were very much against this whole vision of rebuilding the walls and the gates. So, first of all, they began with intimidation, and they were saying, "Oh my goodness, a fox could come along and the fox could just blow down your wall with this pile of stones," and all this kind of rumours that they were putting about Nehemiah and all his workers and his helpers. They were the mainstream media of the day. And on 5 occasions, these enemies came with intimidation and indeed with distraction, because they were saying to Nehemiah, "Come on, come down and meet us. Come and meet us down at Kephirim and we'll have a talk." But you know what Nehemiah said? He said, "I am doing a great work and I will not come down to you." He was focused on the vision, focused on the task, and God was blessing him. And he had so many people that were building the wall and building the gates, and everybody was following his leadership. And then thirdly, Nehemiah was greatly blessed because the wall was completed in 52 days. Was that not just amazing? 52 days to complete this wall. And from what I understand, the wall was around 40 feet high. It was a huge wall. It wasn't like our garden walls that we have today. So it was absolutely amazing. Now then, when the wall was completed, they had a big celebrationary event with the dedication of the wall. And I want to read this part out from chapter 12. This is what it says. "At the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, the Levites were sought out to where they lived, and they were brought to Jerusalem to celebrate joyfully the dedication with songs of thanksgiving, with music of cymbals, harps, and lyres. I also assigned 2 large choirs to give thanks." And one choir went one direction, the other choir went in the other direction. It must have been absolutely amazing. And here we go then in verse 40. The two choirs that gave thanks took their places, and they sang under the direction of Zerahiah. And on that day they offered great sacrifices, rejoicing because God had given them great joy. The women and children also rejoiced, and the sound of rejoicing in Jerusalem could be heard from far away. Now, is that not just amazing that their rejoicing and their praise to God was heard from far away? So Nehemiah was a wonderful leader. So 3 points: he was bold, he believed God, and thirdly, he was blessed. And as a result of his obedience and following God, there was great social and spiritual reform that happened in Jerusalem at that time. He became the provincial governor of the area, and he saw all of godly values and standards coming back again, being restored in society. How inspiring is that? So if you're looking for a good read, I encourage you to read the book of Nehemiah, and I'm sure you'll get inspiration and encouragement as you read it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.